On Monday nights, Pastor Marlene Yo's church sets up a community food pantry. Open to all, it helps many going through tough times.
I do what I do because God's called me. I do it with grace. I love all people. I don't judge people. All people are welcomed.
But this simple food service could spell trouble for her church because of a new gender identity law in Massachusetts. Why churches? Because according to the state's Anti-Discrimination Agency, churches that hold, quote, secular events like a food pantry become places of public accommodation and subject to the law. Attorney Christiana Holcomb represents Yo and 3 other pastors suing the state.
In the history of this nation, churches have never been considered to be places of public accommodation. They are private houses of worship.
The problem, many churches here won't be able to follow both the law and their own beliefs. That's because under the law, those who identify as transgender must be able to enter the bathroom of their choice. The law also broadly defines discrimination as unwelcome verbal conduct and forbids derogatory comments about gender. That potentially means teaching Genesis 1 and 2 could violate the law.
It could affect me as a pastor and what I teach and how we operate as a church. I mean, this is new ground.
Pastor George Small's church, Horizon Christian Fellowship, began 20 years ago with a home Bible study group.
There are things that I could potentially say where I'm teaching the Bible and what I believe it says that could break this law.
Small and Yo, along with fellow plaintiffs Pastor Esteban Carrasco and David O'Coin, say everything is on the line in this case.
This law is really tying our hands, not allowing us to be who we are. And the government has no place.
All this talk of a wall of separation of church and state, where is it when it comes to something like this?
These churches are living in a culture that says they're bigots for holding the views they do on gender and sexuality. And under the new law, those views could cost them significantly.
The statute itself imposes fines up to $50,000 for each violation, and pastors or other church leaders could face up to 365 days in jail for each individual violation of this law.
The state Anti-Discrimination Agency even goes to the extent of policing the use of pronouns. The transgender movement has begun to develop sets of neutral pronouns, and the state says they must be used in a way that fits with a person's stated gender identity. For now, the fight is on to challenge this law, which could easily undermine the First Amendment. The irony is not lost on these pastors who note that their state was founded by people fleeing religious persecution. Andrew Beckwith, the president of the Massachusetts Family Institute, mounted a petition drive this summer to put a repeal measure on the ballot.
The First Amendment doesn't protect the religious freedom of churches. It doesn't protect any of us.
Thanks to the petition drive, voters can ultimately decide the law's fate, but not until 2018.
Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit.
For now, pastors Carrasco, Yo, Small, and O'Coin continue to teach the word and open their doors to all. And when the court decides their case, it could potentially affect churches and faith-based groups across the country.
I definitely see Massachusetts as the tip of the spear, and other states are watching. So if Massachusetts and its Human Rights Commission are allowed to get away with classifying churches as public accommodations and threatening them and attempting to control them in this way, I do think that opens the door to other state human rights commissions taking the very same steps as well.
Unless the court suspends enforcement of the law while their case is being heard, these pastors and others like them run the risk of violating it as they preach and allow the public to use their bathrooms. But these 4 at least are not backing down. They're willing to face the consequences, even imprisonment, for their beliefs.
I'd have a new ministry in a new location. I have no fear.
Reporting in Massachusetts, Heather Sells, CBN News.